Hi there, Phil McGilvray here, founder of Grandma's Jars and passionate budget coach. Thank you for joining us for this video. This is our How to Budget series. And in the last video, I talked to you about the principles of Grandma's Jars. So the principles of the budgeting system, this glass jars principle, that my grandma taught me over 25 years ago. Now, what I learned from Grandma at that point in time has held me in good stead throughout my life. And in fact, the principles that my grandma taught me are very much the principles of the budgeting system that we use today to help hundreds and hundreds of people take control of their finances. So if you haven't seen that video, please go back and have a look at it, because in that I talk about the 5 key principles of a successful budget. In this video, I'm looking at the first issue, and that is your income. What is the income that you should be using to base your budget on? Now, this is a very, for some people, in fact, it's a very easy question to answer, and for others, it's a really difficult question to answer, because I know that most people earn a very regular income. So every fortnight, every week, or every month, you get paid a set amount. But I also realize that there are people that work overtime, there are people that do shift work, where your pay fluctuates on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And I also understand that there are people that earn seasonal incomes, where you'll get a lot for a few months of the year and very, very little throughout the rest of the year. In this video though, I'm really just looking at the key principles of the income you need to budget to. I have produced 2 other videos. Now the links to those will be in the show notes or in the description for you to have a look at, where I do talk specifically about budgeting to a seasonal income and also budgeting to a penalty rate income. Today though, I want to keep it simple and just look at the core principles of income that you use to budget to. Now there are 3 things that you need to look at when putting a budget together and deciding what income you're going to use. The first thing is the income you want to use is your after-tax or your net income. So this is the income that actually hits your bank account. So typically, that's after tax and after superannuation. That is what you get in the bank account, and that is what you get to spend. So that is the income that you need to budget to. The second thing you need to look for is an income that is reliable. So if you have some fluctuations in your income, what you need to do is find a conservative average of that income. You don't want to be hoping for the higher end and then finding that every month your budget falls short. You don't want to go way to the low end either, because it's going to make your budget way too tight. Because remember, the income that you use is going to provide the upper limit to your spending. So whatever your income is, you cannot spend more than that. And if you remember in the previous video, what I talked about was the fact that my grandma knew exactly what her categories were. She knew how much she needed to allocate to each jar, and she made sure that what she had to allocate to each jar was less than the money she received each pay. So she always had some money left. And that's the same for you. When you're identifying your income, that forms the upper boundary of your spending, and whatever you allocate to your expenses needs to be less than your income. So first thing is you're looking for your net income. That's income after superannuation, after tax, and it's what you actually receive in your bank account. The second thing you need to look for is reliable income. So err on the side of caution with that. So if you are a penalty rate worker and you know what your base income is, it's great if you could base your budget income on that. However, there might be a conservative average where you go, look, I get this much overtime in a bad week and this much in a good week. Let's find middle ground there. But it's got to be reliable. The third thing that you're looking for is income that is regular. And by regular, I mean ideally it's weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. And typically no longer than that. I'll often have people say, well, look, I get bonuses on a quarterly basis, or I get my tax return once a year, or I get some dividends from shares that I've got twice a year. Now, the problem with that is it just makes budgeting very, very difficult, because it's so, I wouldn't say inconsistent, but there's such a long time between receiving those. So where possible, you want to try and base your budget on weekly, fortnightly or monthly incomes and no longer than that. If you get a bonus, if you get a bonus and you know what it is and you get it every single quarter, look, maybe you can include that, but where possible, try and keep it to weekly, fortnightly or monthly. Now, I hope that makes sense. Remember, you're setting your upper limit for what you can spend here. In the next session, what we're going to do is look at all your expenses. So we're starting at the top here. Here is my income, and then we're going to add your expenses. In the next video, we're going to go through how do we know what our expenses are so that we can then make that comparison between your income and your expenses. So that's step 2 in this budget, well, actually it's the first step in this budget process after our overview. First step, understand your income. So can I encourage you now, go away, sit down. If you've got a partner, sit down with your partner and write out all of your sources of income, household income. Really important, if you are a couple, you need both in this budget process. Put it all down on paper, identify those that are regular, weekly, fortnightly, monthly. Identify what is a consistent level for each of those incomes, and then use that as your starting point for your budget. I hope that makes sense. As you know, I'm passionate about what I do. I love helping people get their budget sorted out. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're just on the second video of what will be at least 6 videos explaining the how to budget process. And this comes from 15 years of working as a budget coach and a financial advisor. So please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video when we're going to look at how do I identify all of my expenses.